Okay, YouTube, once again, welcome back. This is Jimdel-Edu. Welcome back for part 3. This is part 3. If you are new, guys, this is what I'm building. I'm calling this with you. Let me show you this. This is where we left for in part 2, and this is what we're working on right now. I try to make the same. Okay, this is the original, and this is where we left. Also, let me go back to my code editor. This is comment.php. We finished comment.php. We done with style.css, okay, and index.html. We done with that. Remember, we have here in index.html, we have comments.css. We need to create this this page, this file, okay. Now, what we are going to do right now, guys, now I'm going to create the JavaScript so that you can see the form, okay. I want you to see the form. Let me show you this form, like when you said nine comments and sort by and so on, vote newest, oldest, and when you click here, you can see the form. Okay. Now let me go here. Okay, and go back here. Okay. Now I want you to go. Okay. If you are new, guys, let me show you something. If you are new, this is how this, okay, let me show you how this works. You click on write comment, and you can put your name. I'm going to put something like Patchu, and say, okay, put something. Okay, thank you for the tutorial. If you don't, okay, URL is optional in case. Let me show you something. If you do not use URL, this is what's going to happen. If you click on submit, okay, as you can see, this is Patchu. There is no image, no URL. But now, if I want to reply, I click here, and I'm going to put Jimdel like this, and I'm going to say okay, and to put it like this, you are welcome. And if I can pick anything. Look for my picture. Okay. Okay, copy. I'm going to copy the image link. This for the not link. I'm looking for the address. This is image address. Okay, let me go back here and paste it. Okay, and click on submit. This is it. You are welcome. Okay, this is how this works, guys. Now let's go back to where we were. Okay. Okay, now we want to see the form. Okay, go back to your code editor. Go to your main folder. Let me go extend this. I want you to go to your main folder, right click, click on new file. I'm going to call it comment, okay? Comment.js. Comment.js, okay? Because we have comment.js here, and click on enter. If you go back to comment.php, go back to comment.php, no, index.html, sorry. Go back to index.html. We have comment.js. This is it right here, okay? comment.js. We create this file. We just create this file comment.js. Okay, now open comment.js. Let's start coding. I'm going to create a class. Oh. Okay. The class name, I'm going to call it comment, capital C. I call it comment, okay? And I need a constructor. I got it. I'm going to save it. Inside, remember, this is the opening bracket for the comment. This is the closing. I'm going to, this is the end of, I like to comment, guys. To comment my code, end of comment. Okay. And I want you to bring this down. And inside of the, okay, class comment, this is the opening, this is the closing. Constructor, inside of the constructor, I'm going to say options, like this. Okay, inside of the options, this is the opening, this is the closing. Now, inside of the option, I can say end of options. Okay, inside of this constructor, I'm going to say let default equal. Okay, now I'm going to say page ID 1, comma, next line. Now I'm going to say container, this container for our container, and now I'm going to, remember now I'm working on the comments.js, guys, for the script. That query, I'm going to use a query selector like this, and then double quote, put a dot comment. Okay, for our table comment, our table called comments. Okay, and put a comma next line. Now I'm going to call the file URL. For this, I'm going to say PHP underscore file URL. Okay, double quote. Our file URL called comment.php. Now this is where I call. Let me expand this so that we can see. Okay, and let me do this. Okay, now this is I call comment.php here. Okay, and I want you to put a comma, go to the next line, and I'm going to say current pagination page, okay, 1, and you put the semicolon here. This is where you put the semicolon, and I want you to go next after that, and go this that options equal object that assign default. Okay, default and options. Okay, now put a semicolon here at the end and go to the next line. Now I'm going to say this dot fetch comment. Okay, put a semicolon, and this part is done. This is a constructor. Okay, this is end of constructor. Okay, option. Okay, now I want you to go after that. Now this is where I'm going to say fetch. I'm working with the fetch comment as a function like this. Now I'm going to say let URL equal, and I want you to click on the key on your keyboard, the key before 1. Okay, on your keyboard, the key before 1. If you click on it, you get this. Okay, this symbol. Now inside I'm going to say $, bracket, and this that PHP file URL, okay, inside of it. And I'm going next after that, I put a question mark. And I'm going to pass my page ID equal $, bracket, this that page ID, like this, okay? And after that, I'm going to put a semicolon here. I want you to go to the next line. Now call URL plus or equal space double quote comments to show, okay? Comment, and after the closing double quote space, in this that options space question mark space, and I want you to press the same key before number one. Okay, the key before one, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. This line, that the key before on your keyboard, the key before one. Okay, you click on when you press it, you got this, and you put a percent comment. Yes, comment to show right here. Equal. Let me make this smaller for you. Let me make this smaller. Okay. Equal $, bracket, this that comment. Okay. Now, I want you to follow me because this is a long line, guys. Okay. This that comment here, after comment, this that comment, this is to show, put to show like this. Okay, and I want you to go next after that, after the closing bracket, go put ampersand and put current pagination page equal $. Let me expand this so that you can see what I'm doing now. Oops. Okay. Okay. $, after I say current pagination underscore page equal $, bracket, and inside of the bracket I'm going to say this that current. Okay. At this time, pagination, that, as you can see, this one, I'm not going to click on this one. Okay. Yeah, I see, because I say current pagination page like this. And after the closing bracket, no, after this sign is the closing bracket, and then next, okay, space, colon, space, single quote, and I want you to put a semicolon here at the end. Okay, I think take your time to code this part. If you got any errors, let me know in the description, the comment box below. Okay, now I want you to go to the next line. Go to the next line for me. Now, this is where I'm going to say URL. Next line, URL. Okay. Plus equal double quote, and this is where I'm going to say sort by. After the closing single double quote space in this that. Go to the same thing, option space question mark. Do the same thing for me. Click on the okay. Now, let me show you. Inside, I'm going to say ampersand sort by equal $, bracket, and inside the bracket I'm going to say this dot, okay, this dot sort by like this, okay. And here I want you to go here, space, colon, space, single quote, and put a semicolon here. Now I want you to go to the next line for me. Go to the next line. This is what I'm going to say, fetch URL for me inside of this parenthesis, and after this parenthesis I'm going to say that, then parenthesis, response, space, response that text, parenthesis, okay. And I want you to go next after this closing one, the first one. This is the first opening, the closing, and I want to say that, or period, then parenthesis, data, okay. And then now I want you to put a bracket and go down, okay. Now this is what I'm going to say, this, that. Remember guys, I'm working with the form for you. That's why I added this JavaScript. I call this file comment.js, and in HTML equal data, semicolon. Go to the next line, and this, that, follow me, underscore event handler. Event handlers like this, parenthesis, and put a semicolon at the end. Okay, now, and remember, this is the opening. Let me show you something. This is the opening this is the opening parenthesis, this is the closing, this is the opening bracket, this is the closing. I want you to put a semicolon here as well. Okay, and keep this here. And this is the end of, this is end of fetch. Okay, this is end of fetch comment. Okay. And I want you to go after the closing. Now, this is where I'm going to get my comment to show. I'm going to create a get comment to show. Okay. I'm going to say get space comment to show like this. Parentheses as a function. I'm go here, put a bracket. Okay. Now inside I'm going to return these options. This is where I return my options. That comment to show, this one, okay. Now I put a semicolon. Now this get is done. I'm going to create now this is the I'm going to, after get comment to show, this is where I have to set it. I'm going to say set comment to show. Now this time I should pass my value inside of this parenthesis and my bracket. Okay. Now I'm going to say this, that, options that comment to show here equal my value. Okay, this done. Now I'm going to create another get. I'm going to say get. Now for my page, get current page, pagination page. Okay, right here, bracket, return space this, that, options, that, current pagination page, this one, and put a semicolon here. Okay, go to the next line. Not next line, skip this part is done, this block of code is done. Okay, Now I'm going to set it, set current, this one. I got get, or I can copy this one and paste it here, okay? And parentheses, I'm going to say value. Go after that and put my bracket. This I'm going to say this dot options that current pagination page here equal, at this time equal value and semicolon at the end. Okay. Now I need to get, this is where I'm going to get my page ID right now. Get page ID, okay? And return this dot option dot page ID, like this. Now I have to set it. I'm going to say set page ID value this dot option dot page ID, okay? Page ID, no, page underscore ID equal value. Okay. Now I'm going to use, I need another get. Now after page ID, I need a get for the file URL. And this block of code is done. Let me scroll up. Okay. Now I'm going to say get PHP file URL, okay, and return this dot option that PHP underscore file URL, like this, and semicolon. And right after that, I have to set it. I'm going to set PHP file URL and value this dot, I'll keep repeating this for pretty much the same thing, this dot option dot PHP file URL equal value, like this. This part is done. Go here. Now let me get my container. Get my container and return this dot options dot container. Okay. So, and then I have to set it. Set container value and this dot option that container equal value. Okay. What I'm going to get at this time, I'm going to get my sort by. Get sort by. Okay. Get sort by and return this dot options dot sort underscore by. Okay, semicolon. And I have to set it set sort by value. I'm going to say this that options that sort by, like this, value. Okay. Now what I'm going to do next, this part is done. This is where I'm going to use my event handlers. Okay. After, okay, here, go here, I'm going to say this is I'm going to use yeah, this is event handlers. Okay, now I'm going to say, as you can see, this is underscore like this. Let me see it like that. Underscore event handlers. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's go, guys. And inside, we say this, that my container, that my query selector. Okay, at the side is selector all, and double quote that my table name, and space that write comment underscore write comment btn, the write comment button, comma, space that comment, space that reply. Okay, reply comment button, and this is a line. Let's keep it, try to keep it that way. After comment, reply comment button. Okay, I want you to go after the closing parenthesis here. I want you to put a period or that if you want. This is okay. I name it like that. Put that or period. And for each, I'm going to say for each parenthesis element. For each element. Okay. And now put a, for each element, inside of this parentheses, put a bracket and bring it down. Okay. Now, here, this is where we are going to pass everything we need inside of the comment.js to handle. We want this page to handle everything for us as a JavaScript to file. The first thing I'm going to say element that on click event, okay, bracket, and event that prevent default, like that, semicolon, and go to the next line. This that container that my query selector all, and double quote that comment my table, space that write comment. Okay, go after the closing parenthesis, put it that for each parenthesis, for each element, and I want you to continue because this is a long line of code. For each element, okay, for each element like this, space, element that style that display equal single quote none and semicolon. Okay, now I want you to go to the next slide for me. And now what we are going to put, now we are going to use a if statement. I'm going to use the if statement. I'm going to say if here, if, okay, local storage, capital S, okay. If local storage that get item, parentheses, double quote, item name, like this, and bracket, okay. This that container that query selector, parentheses, double quote, Now div bracket, this bracket, data that comment ID equal, follow me guys, equal, I'm going to put a, follow me here, equal single quote, but I'm going to open this single quote here. I want you to see what I'm doing here. I'm going to open this single quote here. Okay. Okay guys, single div data comment ID equal single quote, and inside of the single quote I'm going to put a double quote. After that, and it's as a space plus sign, okay, plus sign, element that get attribute, attribute, okay, and parentheses, double quote, data comment ID. Okay. Now go after the closing this parenthesis, space, and put a plus sign, space. Okay, this is close here. Now after this closing bracket, this one here, I want you to go after that, put a space, and put input. Okay, put a bracket, this bracket, name equal, and after that I want you to, after name equal here inside of this bracket, name equal single quote like this, and put name. Now this is here, this is the closing parenthesis. I want to go next after that, put a dot, and I want you to put value space equal local storage that get item, okay, local storage get item, okay, and parenthesis double quote, put name, and put a semicolon at the end, and this line of code is done. Okay, let me stop for a second so that you can take your time to code this part. And now I want you to go to the next line. I want you to go to the next line, click here and click enter. Now I'm going to say this, that container again, that query selector parentheses double quote, put a div, this bracket, okay, put data dash comment, pretty much the same, comment ID equal, okay, single quote, double quote, space, plus sign, okay, space, element that get attribute, okay, parentheses, double quote, put data comment, put data comment ID, data comment ID, here like the same one, we got data comment ID. We can copy this one and paste it here, or we can just dash put ID like this, okay. And after data comment ID, I want you to go next after the closing this parenthesis, go next after that, put a space and put this plus sign, a plus sign, okay. Now I want you to go next after the closing bracket here, go next after that, put space and put input this bracket, put name equal single quote. At this time I'm not going to put name here, I'm going to put img, which is for image URL, okay, And after this closing parenthesis here, I'm going to say that or period value space equal local storage that get item. No, no. Go back, undo. Okay, this is local storage that get item like this. After that, put on parentheses, double quote, image URL, and put a semicolon here. This line of code is done. Okay, let me stop for a second so that you can take your time to code this line. Okay. Now after that, guys, I want to go to the next line. Go to the next line. Click here. Go to the next line. Okay, this is the closing if. I want you to follow that. This is the closing if. This is the closing if. Okay. For this if, end of. Let me comment this end of local storage. Okay. This is local storage. I can copy this and paste it here. This is end of local storage. This is the closing. This is the opening. Sorry, this is the opening. This is the closing. I want you to go next. Let me put this closer for you. Okay, and bring this here. Okay, I want you to go next after the closing here. If this is the closing, go next after that. Now I want you to put that container for me. That container, that query selector, parentheses, double quote, div, okay, bracket, data comment ID equal, okay, single quote, double quote, space, plus sign, space, element that get attribute, element that get attribute. This is a long line of code, guys. Leave it, okay. Element that get attribute. At this time, we get after attribute, parentheses, double quote. Now we have data comment ID. Okay. Now, after the closing parentheses here, after the closing parentheses, I want you to go to space, plus sign, okay, space, and I want to go here after this closing parenthesis, the last one, put a dot, style dot display, and space equal single quote put block. Okay, and put semicolon after the closing single quote. Okay, let me stop here and take your time to code this part. And when you're done, go to the next line. Go to the next line. Let me, okay, now and then put that container, that query selector, parentheses, double quote, div, bracket, data comment ID, and equal single quote, double quote, space, plus sign, space, element that get attribute, okay, parentheses, double quote. Now you have an idea, parentheses, double quote, and inside of the double quote put data comment ID. Okay, I want to go next after this closing parenthesis, this one here, and put a space, plus sign, space, and go after the last one, closing parenthesis, this one. Okay, what I want you to add at this time, not style.display, I want you to create a space, add put bracket name equal single quote name. Okay, and maybe something is missing. Let me see. This is opening here. This is the first one. This is the opening. Okay. This is the opening input data comment ID bracket here. Okay. What I want you to do, guys, this is it. This is this that container that query selector parentheses. The first one, we got div bracket data comment ID equal single quote double quote space plus sign, and we have element that get attribute parentheses. Parentheses bracket single double quote data comment ID space after that sign plus, put a plus sign, and now after the closing bracket here, after this closing bracket, I want you to cut this line of code, cut this one. Okay, this one here, I want to cut it, and I want to go after this closing bracket. Let me expand this so that you can see here. After this closing bracket, go here and say space and paste it. Okay, like this. I want you to paste it. Once you're done, now I want you to go at the end after this closing parentheses. Now this is where I want you to put that focus and parentheses like this, and put a semicolon at the end. This part is done. Okay. All right. Now let's go here. Now this is the opening for element that on click equal event. This is the opening bracket, opening. This is the closing. I want you to put a semicolon here for me. Also for this one, for the let me look for this one for you. Yes, this one for this that container query selector all, I want you to put a semicolon here as well. Okay, and then after that I want you to let's see, yeah, after that I want you to go here, bring this down. Oh no, this one, bring this closing down for me. Okay, this bring down like this. And okay, I want you to go next here. We got 1, 2 closing. Okay, now I want you to say, I'm going to say this, that let me okay, put it closer. This, that options that container that query selector all at this time here, parenthesis double quote, that comment, that write comment form. This is underscore write comment form, write comment. Okay, space, and then put form. That comment, that write comment, and space form. Okay, Go next after the closing parenthesis, put that. For each parenthesis, for each element, as a function, for each element, after element space, like this, no, okay, space, bracket, and bring it down. For each element, okay. Now I'm going to say element dot on submit. Remember the first one was element dot on click. At this time you say element dot sub on let me quote it. Element dot on submit, okay, equal event, okay, go like this, bracket, bring it down. Now I'm going to say event that prevent default, okay, parentheses, put the semicolon here, and go to next line. Now I'm going to say fetch parentheses, and click the same key for me on your keyboard before 1. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Click the same key before 1, okay, key 1 or number 1 on your keyboard. When you press it, you got this sign, and I'm going to say $, bracket, this dot PHP file URL, and after the closing, let me explain this. After this closing, put a question mark, and I'm going to call my page ID, this one, equal $, bracket, this dot my page ID, this one, capital I, okay. And after this closing sign here, after this closing, I want you to let me explain this, make it bigger. Put a comma here, okay. After the comma, I want you to put. After the comma, I want you to space, bracket, bring it down. Okay. Now, I'm going to say method single quote post, and go here, put a comma, go to the next line. I'm going to say body new form data parentheses element, okay, and go to the next line. Bring this up for me. This is closed, and put now here after, follow me, after element here, continue, put a dot or period, and say then parentheses response space response that text parentheses, and I want you to go here. This is the first opening parentheses. Go after the closing one and say that, then parentheses data space like this, okay, and space bracket, bring it down. Now I'm going to say local storage that set item, okay, parentheses double quote name. After the closing double quote, I put a comma, element that query selector, parentheses double quote. Now I'm going to say input bracket name, okay, equals single quote name. This is a long line of code, guys. I want you to keep it straight. Now I want you to put after name here, after name, after the closing parentheses, the first one, this is opening. If you click on it, you will see the closing. After this one, I want you to put it a period, that or that. I call it that. I put it value. and put a semicolon here, and go to the next line. I'm going to say local storage dot set item again, parentheses, double quote. Remember before we did local storage that set for name. Not right now. We should set for we should do it for image, img underscore image URL, and after the closing double quote here, put a comma space, element dot query query selector, parentheses, do the same thing, put input bracket name equals single quote image URL. Okay, and I want to go to the closing one, put a dot, and put value, put a semicolon here. Now to go to the next line. Now this is where I'm going to use an if statement. I'm going to say if, okay, if element that parent element that parent element again that class name that includes parentheses double quote con, okay, as if, put it back. Okay, let me do this so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now inside of this if, I'm going to say element that parent element, okay, that parent element again, that class, no, so it's an element that parent element that query, at this time should be query selector, okay, parenthesis double quote, that replies. Okay, now after this closing parenthesis, put that inner HTML equal data put data in space plus element that parent element that query selector, parentheses double quote, parentheses double quote. I want you to put let me see, first let me go back 1 second. I got a reply. Okay, I want you to put replies again. Okay, put our replies and put a dot replies, put that before replies. That means the first one. Okay, yeah, the first one we have that replies. The second one we should get the same thing, that replies, and go after the closing parenthesis, put a dot, in HTML, put semicolon. I want you now, okay, and I think you now go to the next line, pretty much the same thing, element that we can copy and paste it. Okay, we can copy and paste it, but we don't need. Okay, it should be this is a short line of code. Element that parent element, that's at this time I'm going to say style that display equal double quote none. Okay, like this, and put a semicolon here. Now I'm going to use the else statement. If else, oh, not parenthesis, sorry, let me go back, remove it. Okay, this is a bracket. This is the else statement. Else element that parent element that query query selector parentheses double quote that comment, okay, underscore wrapper. This comment wrapper right here, and I want you to go here after the closing parentheses and put a period on that, okay. Parent element that query selector that comment wrapper. Go next after here, put inner HTML space equal data space plus element that parent element that parent element, okay, that query selector parentheses double quote that should be comment underscore, yes, comment wrapper, and go next after that, put in a HTML and put a semicolon here, okay. Now what I want you to do, guys, go here, okay. Now this is the else, closing else. This is the closing for here, okay. Then here, okay. Let me show you something. Then we have to put some semicolon. Now after the else statement, we need a second line of code on the else statement, okay. In the second line of code, I'm going to say go to the next line here, or let me show you. Click here. You click here, go to the next line, and because here the first if, let me show you. As you can see, start that display. We can copy this line of code, copy, and paste it here, okay. Element that parent element that style that display equal none, okay. Now here's the closing else. I want you to go next after that and put this that, follow me, this dot underscore event handlers parentheses and put semicolon. This part is done, and I want you to put a semicolon here. Put this semicolon. Let me increase this, that. Put a semicolon here. I want you to put a semicolon here and put a semicolon here. Okay. Now go next after that. This is where I'm going to say this that container that query selector all at this time. Okay. Query selector all parentheses double quote that comment space that vote. Okay. Go next after the closing parentheses. Put it that. Now I'm going to use it for each. For each parentheses, for each element, like this, space, bracket, bring it down. I'm going to say element that on click at this time equal event, space, bracket, bring it down. Event that prevent default, okay. And semicolon. Go to the next line. Now I'm going to have to fetch Okay, and inside of this parenthesis, press the same key on your keyboard before number 1 here, and I'm going to say $ bracket this that PHP file URL, okay, and go after the closing here, put a question mark. I'm going to call my page ID equal $ bracket this page ID this with the capital I, okay. Now go after the closing bracket, put ampersand vote equal $ bracket element that get attribute, okay. This is a long line of code, keep it straight, guys. Element that get attribute, parentheses after that here, double quote, put data dash vote like this, and go after the closing parenthesis, closing bracket here, go after that, put ampersand, put comment underscore ID equal $ bracket and element that get attribute again, okay. Parenthesis double quote, now put data dash comment ID, and now I want you to go here after the closing parenthesis, this one here, put it that, then parenthesis response. After response, I want you to add, okay, here we have response. After response is space like this, response that text parenthesis, and after the last one, okay, here I want you to put a dot, then parenthesis, put data, this is data space, okay, space bracket, bring it down, okay. When you click on enter, you got this. You go to the next line. Now what I'm going to pass here inside of this container, after the fetch, I'm going to say element. I'm going to say element that parent that element, that query selector parenthesis double quote that number, okay, a number. Go after that, put inner HTML space equal data parentheses, okay. Okay, go here. Now I want you to put a semicolon, put a semicolon here, put a semicolon here, put a semicolon here, and go next after the last one, put this that container that query selector, okay, parenthesis double quote, that comment space, okay, sort underscore by. Now I want to go after the closing parentheses. Now they put, now this is on, put, I want to put on change space equal event like this, space bracket, bring it down. Now what do you say, this that container, this that container that query selector parenthesis double quote label bracket parenthesis label bracket for, this is the bracket for equal single quote bracket for sort underscore by. Okay. Go after this closing parenthesis, put it that HTML space equal. I want you to press the same key before number one on your keyboard, and then you got this. Inside of it, this is where I'm going to pass a span. Okay. Pass a span here. Okay, like this. And this is the opening. This is the closing. Okay. And put a semicolon at the end. And inside of the first one, I'm going to create a class equal double quote. I call it loader. That's to load. The class loader. Okay. And now here, you can bring it here. Now go. Okay. Now when you press enter, now and then you go to the next line. When you press enter, you go to the next line. And next line, what I'm going to add. Then let me continue with this. This that after container, this that sort by, like this equal event that target value, and this that fetch comment, like this. Okay. And I want you to put a semicolon here and go after this closing, and I'm going to say if this that container that query selector parenthesis double quote that comment space that show underscore more comment. Okay, and you go here to the bracket here. Okay, now I'm going to say this that container that query selector. Okay, parenthesis double quote that comment that show more here. Go after the closing parenthesis, put it that this is on click. Okay, equal space event. Okay, now after event, that on click equal event space. Oops. Put a bracket. Okay. Now I'm going to say event that prevent default. Okay. Semicolon. And this that current page. Yeah, current presentation page equal space this that current. Yes. Okay. Space plus sign 1 semicolon, and this that fetch comment. Okay, now I want you to put a semicolon here and add another semicolon here. Pretty much this is it, guys. I want you to bring this down, or I want you to cut this one, this semicolon. We don't need it, only one. Bring this up. Okay, bring this up as well. Okay, now as you can see, we have 4 closing. We have 1 the first one with a semicolon, okay, and then this one no semicolon, no semicolon, no semicolon. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this page is done. This is a comment, and then save everything. Don't forget to save everything. Save all. Okay. Now this page is done. Comments.js is done. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this program. Go to my browser and refresh the page. Okay, nothing yet. Let me see. No, not this one. Okay. One second. And put index.html. And nothing yet. Okay. Now we have nothing yet, guys. Let me tell you why. Because now we have to create comment.css. If you go back to index dot, because we finished this one, comment.js, we just finished it, and now we need a comment. Okay, let me make it bigger. Now we need comment.css. Okay, and let me go back to comment.js. Okay. Okay, this page is done. Comments.js is done. Now, this is where I'm going to stop. Don't worry, guys, you don't see anything yet, any result yet, because this is a step-by-step tutorial. And I will create a comment.css in the next tutorial. This is where I'm going to stop. This is pretty much done with this page. I'm going to stop here for part 3. Okay? And now I'm going to stop. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. If you have any errors, let me know in the comment box below, and I will help you out. Okay, see you. Bye bye. See you in the next one for part 4. Thank you.